Hello and welcome to Garden Chatter, where we connect gardeners, bloggers, and experts so we can all grow and learn together. Tonight we're going to connect with a couple of gardeners, and you'll get to meet them in just a moment. One of them is halfway around the world, or most all the way around the world, so it'll be fun to see what she's been up to. And I am happy to have Bren Hawes here with me tonight as my co-host. So Bren, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, not too bad. The snow's gone, kind of, and then it came back. But that's Ohio in March, right?
So if we have anyone joining us live tonight and wants to ask some questions for our guests, Bren, how can they join us?
Okay, let's see. So if you are tuning in with us tonight live on the Google Hangout, you're going to want to click right up in the right-hand corner there. You'll see a grid. Push that grid, and a Q&A will show. And that'll come up a full bar there on the left-hand side. And I hope you will just ask a few questions tonight, or just say hey and let us know that you're watching us. We've got some exciting things. I can't wait to pick Sarah's brain, because she's already grown for this year through spring and summer. Now she's heading into autumn, and she's been harvesting things. So I've got a lot of questions that I want to ask her about growing this year, and this is going to be fun. Adam?
Yeah, so welcome Sarah O'Neill. She's down in New Zealand. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing really well. I'm in my greenhouse, and it's a lot hotter than I expected it to be. So it's gone over 30 degrees C, so I think that's about 90-ish Fahrenheit.
Well, if you have to, run outside and cool off, we'll understand.
I've got my windows open, so.
Very good. So where are you in New Zealand?
I'm in the northern part of the Waikato, which is on the west coast of the North Island, so we're near the top. I think our equivalent zone is, because I did Google this earlier for Bren, is 10A. So we've got a good climate.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that's quite mild. I mean, you're probably able to grow things most all year, really.
Yeah, I do. I grow all year round. I've just planted my brassicas to go out into the garden for the winter, and so there's quite a range of things that I can grow in the winter. It's really exciting.
That's great. So how'd your summer crop go? Because you're just wrapping up now.
Oh, it's been amazing. My cucumbers have gone. They've finished. There's a lot of the tomatoes they're at that stage where there's more brown leaves and it looks really sick, but the tomatoes are all still ripening up. In fact, I just harvested some just before, and I've got so many different kinds. Can you see some of these?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are so good, and some of them are so very good.
Oh, I'm jealous. Jealousy.
Guys are going to so enjoy fresh tomatoes when they get here.
Yeah,
and I'll be the one watching you going, oh no, it's not fair.
That's right. We have to wait quite a few months now.
Yeah. Oh, it's just amazing. I mean, I'm at the point now I'm actually sick of them, and so I'm not harvesting every day like I should.
Do you preserve some of them? Do you do any canning or drying of them?
I do all of that. I do pickling, preserving. I do a lot of freezing. Like, for example, with the tomato, I'll just pop it in the freezer in a bag just like that with the stalk on and everything. And when in the winter, when you want to use it in a casserole, you just run it under the cold tap or the warm tap, and the skin slips off, and then it just melts into your casserole, and you don't need to spend all summer trying to get the skin off and blanching and all that kind of. I'm all for making things easy.
Well, I like that plan because that sounds simple. So.
Yeah, I'm all for making things easy. But I'm also enjoy doing fun things as well. Like I'm in the middle of trying to make actual proper mustard. Like the squeeze out onto your hot dog thing. So I've got some mustard seeds soaking at the moment. So we shall see how that turns out.
So you're admitting that you eat hot dogs over there in New Zealand?
Sorry?
So you have hot dogs in New Zealand?
Oh, yeah, we have hot dogs. We have. It's actually quite quite amazing how pervasive American culture is in our culture. Well, pervasive is not really the right word. You know, we follow along with you guys quite a lot with a lot of things. So.
Very good. Well, hey, I see that Alexis joined us. Alexis is from the beanandbeeblog.com. How you doing, Alexis?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late. 7 o'clock is when we put our kids to bed, so it's really a struggle to make these. But I'm glad I made it tonight.
Hey,
great. Good to see you guys. I saw Sarah earlier when we were testing our links. We were like, oh, hey, what's going on?
I know, that's funny. I should have warned you that I'd sent links to both of you and that you might click through and see each other. I didn't even really think of it, though. So.
It's fine.
Well, we're checking in with Sarah, and then we'll come check in with what you're doing, Alexis, and if you have any questions for Sarah. So, Sarah, I was just wondering, like, I see some good garden space outside. How much space are you working with? Like, what size garden do you have?
We're really blessed. We have 3 acres. Not all of the garden is in gardenable. You know, most of we use it to make hay and silage and things like that, and make our profit there. But what I do have is a large orchard, which the apples are now ready, which is it's a bittersweet thing because when the apples are ready, summer's over. And I have about 30 or so raised beds with all my different crops in each one. So I stopped counting at 30. I don't really want to know the truth.
So lots of raised beds, lots and lots of raised beds. Do you do a lot of composting and things like that to enrich the soil in your beds, or how do you keep the?
Well, the best thing we have is the best thing we have is our soil. It's swamp soil. They drained where we live. It was a swamp. They drained it in 1886, and considering that country was only just discovered like a decade or so earlier, it sort of defies logic that they would have drain a swamp when they had a whole country to explore. But I'm glad they did, because our soil is so fertile, and so it's called the sponge of the soil world. It holds 20 times its weight in water, and so even during the summer, which we've had a drought, in the normal ground where we just walk around in the lawn and things, there's deep cracks from not having any rain. But I've only had to water my garden once a week because the soil is so amazing. It just holds that moisture, and it's full of organic matter, and I just have fabulous, fabulous harvests.
That's amazing. I'm so jealous.
That's.
So I do plant cover crops in the winter to try and give some organic matter back.
That's kind of neat. I knew we had a lot in common, Sarah, because, you know, where I live here in Ohio, it's actually called the Black Swamp, or it used to be the Black Swamp. And basically, that's kind of what they did out here. They ran trenches and ditches and drained it all out, and we've got some great soil here.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think called Adam, I actually met you back in February, forever, at the Garden Blogger Conference down in Atlanta. So Sarah had come all the way from New Zealand to connect with fellow gardeners and learn about websites and marketing, and we just had a great time, didn't we, Sarah?
Well, it was awesome. I was just thinking, this time last month it was snowing. But it's too hot here. Seriously, it's a beautiful
In Atlanta, it was snowing, and that was a treat just to see Sarah light up, because I don't think she's ever seen snow before. But
it doesn't snow where we are.
It was Atlanta snow, so that doesn't count. You need to come to Colorado or Ohio. Right?
Definitely. Next time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking maybe Alexis and we have more in common with our soils, because I don't have the beautiful swamp fertile soil. How about you, Alexis? So, Alexis, where are you located? You don't have soil? Because you're in central Texas, is that correct?
Right. All I have is whatever the contractors left behind after building the house. And underneath is limestone. It's just limestone rocks. And, like, you have to dig out and around and through the rock. So So I only garden in raised beds. I don't know anybody in this area that gardens in the ground. We just go up. We just import.
So you did raised beds, and then have you planted a lot of sort of native or dry climate plants
Yeah.
just in the ground? Or?
Yeah, in the ground, I do have a peach tree. Herbs do really well in the ground. The peaches do well because the limestone makes our soil really alkaline, and they like that. But as far as any like sort of grocery store kind of produce stuff, it all is in raised beds. So we'll see. I'm hoping for a better harvest this year.
Yeah, and then do you do a winter garden? I'm not sure what the climate's like where you are. So are you able to?
I think the last time we talked, we were, which I know was ages ago, but we have the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, and then our late summer is like winter in other places that like nobody goes outside, you can't garden, like it's 110, there's no water, like everyone just sort of hunkers down for 3 months and waits for kind of like July, August, September to pass, depending on the year. Some years are better than the others. Some years the 100-degree temperatures start in May. So it just kind of depends on how bad the weather pattern is. But last year was really mild, and we only had like 30 triple-digit days instead of like, I don't know, 3 million or something like we had in the previous years. So it just kind of depends. You never know what's going to happen.
So what would you be planting right now? What are you growing, or what's going in the ground right now for you, Alexis?
So like kind of the standards, tomatoes, peppers do really well. I can't grow lettuce to save my life, like because it gets too hot too fast. It bolts and is bitter and is disgusting. Peas do okay. Zucchini does well. Melons do well. So I've got sugar baby watermelons and cantaloupe that I'm excited about this year. And then I'm trying to grow purslane for the first time. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's like a succulent. It's technically a weed. Sometimes you can buy a blooming variety in like hanging baskets, and they've got kind of little oblong, juicy leaves. I don't know. Is anyone familiar with purslane?
I haven't actually grown it, but I'd like to try it. Sounds like it's pretty tasty and healthy and easy to grow.
It's like a weirdo superfood. It's like super high in omega-3s, and it's hard to find that in a plant source. And they're supposed to be really tangy and crispy. So I found like a hybridized, bred for consumption variety from High Mowing Organic that I'm trying this year in the hottest part of my garden to see if it works, because it loves heat. So we got plenty of that, and so that's my biggest kind of exciting thing that I'm trying this year as far as the plants. I have a pond. I just put in a pond last weekend, so that's my other big exciting thing.
Well, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Huh?
Great to have. That'll be great to have. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and I found aquatic mint to grow in it, so I'm actually growing edibles in the pond as well. So it's pretty exciting. I feel so much more confident than I did a year ago when I really started getting into all of this. I feel like I've come a long way. So we'll see. You never know.
Very good. Bren, what are you up to as far as your garden?
First of all, I'm wondering how Sarah's doing, because I know it's really hot in those greenhouses. Are you doing okay?
Who, Sarah? She starting to cook?
Yeah. You okay, Sarah?
I wonder if we lost her. I think she's frozen.
Oh, maybe you guys can help me, actually. I'm going to try to grow poppies again. Let's see.
Sorry?
Oh, there she is.
I can't hear you very well, Bryn.
Yeah, talk loud, Bren. Your mic's still not quite up
Okay.
there. Perfect.
Are we there? Okay. So I'm going to try to grow poppies again from seed. Are you guys familiar with doing those? I have a hard time getting them to do anything. Do you have any tips for me?
Gosh, I haven't tried. I don't know if I've ever tried to grow poppies from seed. So not sure if I'm going to be able to help you out, Bren.
This is my first year trying to grow some, and I just sprinkled them in and tamped them
What
down.
happened? I did that last year, and around this time is when you're supposed to put them in my zone. I'm in hardiness zone 5B, and I just didn't get any. I mean, they came up a little, like it had a little green, and then it just kind of died. They didn't work. So I don't know. I'll try again. I'm not giving up.
That's as far as I've gotten. Is I've seen little, almost like grass-like, little sprouts, and that's as far as I've made it so far.
Well, maybe I'm going to have to go plant some poppies. Find out. I like poppies.
Great.
Yeah, I still have.
I would think they do well in your zone, Adam.
Oh yeah, they should. I mean, they definitely do. So I just haven't grown either. Of course, the California poppies are pretty much grow wild native around the little orange ones, so they pop up all over.
Are those native ones worth harvesting the seeds from for like cooking and stuff, or are they just not that
I
great?
don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I have right now. I have a bunch of stuff in the greenhouse I need to plant out. So I went on a little trip with my daughter, and so I was a little worried that they'd be too root bound or something when I get back. But I think they'll be fine. So I have more cabbage and broccoli, and sprouting broccoli. What else? Oh, and I planted out some peas and carrots and radishes. So I just need to plant more stuff that can handle a few frosts, because we'll probably still get some frosts. Well, maybe not. It's been really mild. I don't know. Hey, Alexis, you... go ahead, Bren.
Did you start those out from seed, or did you just start planting?
All the ones, I've pretty much grown everything from seeds so far. So I have a little heating mat that holds about 4 trays, and yeah, I've planted. Yeah, I don't think I've bought any seedlings. And I have a whole bunch of lettuce that I planted about, I don't know, a couple months ago in the greenhouse. That's just going crazy, and I need to eat more lettuce and salads. So it looks like Lisa popped in with a question here. She says, don't you wonder,
watching that we didn't know?
Don't you wonder how come Grandma's poppies always did well? My grandmas grew everywhere. They didn't live for me either, says Lisa. Well, I don't know.
Ohio, Michigan thing. I don't know.
I think there are certain people that just grow certain plants really well. Like, I can grow roses, no problem. Like, I stick it in the ground and it's fine. Like, I have no problem growing roses, and I know lots of people struggle with it. But then, like, I can't grow lettuce at all to save my life. So, like, I think there's just certain plants, certain people kind of have, just sort of the magic ability to do. And I wish poppies were mine, but I think I'm like Bren. I think these little grass little seedlings are going to come up, and that's going to be it. Like, I'm not feeling very hopeful about mine. Mine are purple.
They're going to be purple flowers?
Yeah, their purple is like some sort of heirloom purple blossomed poppy.
Oh, cool.
So it would be amazing, but I'm not holding my breath.
We'll have to check in with you and see how they did. You too, Bren. Lisa says, maybe it's us, Bren. Yeah, maybe you're doomed, poppy growers. Alexis, I was wondering, something else is that I know you've been interested in permaculture and working on some of that. Is there anything that you're doing in those areas, like building up your soil or trying to do anything permaculture-wise?
Since I think I last talked to you guys, so I built a swale in my front yard, which is like a creek built on contour, and it's connected to my downspout, so every time it rains, all the water from my roof gets distributed across my yard, and then because of the way my yard is graded, it follows down to the street. So that's been really good, and I'm expecting to see some really good, like, grass and tree response to that. And then I planted a peach tree with a guild, which is like a fancy way of saying companion planting. So I've got daikon radishes planted around it because they grow really deep into the soil, which we don't have a ton of. And then you can just chop off the tops when they're mature, and it's like an instant fertilizer stick in the ground. You just leave them in the ground with the idea that they're going to rot in place, like a little compost injection, and draw earthworms to the site. And I've got strawberries and chives planted together on the berm of my swale, and I've got blooms of my strawberries, so that's good. What else do we got going on? The pond is kind of part of the permaculture thing, because to have a consistent water source will bring in a lot of more biodiversity. You'll get the beneficial insects, and you'll get toads and things like that coming in. That can help sort of build your ecosystem in your garden. And then, like I mentioned, I'm growing edible mint in it as well, so it's kind of got multi-functions. I think that's probably all the big stuff for now. But yeah, I'm trying. I keep learning, and like there's an awesome Texas permaculture design group that I'm a member of on Facebook that has a monthly like workshop. And I haven't made it out yet because early in the year is still a bunch of holidays for us, but I'm hoping that this next month I'll get to actually go like meet real permaculture people in my area and do some hands-on work.
So, talking about this whale, I've never heard of that before. It's like a whale, only with an S, right?
I can't understand you, Bren. What did you say?
Oh, no.
Yeah, she was asking about what is a swale, just to explain a little bit more about what a swale is, how you built it, and what is its purpose.
So a swale is a fancy way of saying a ditch that is built following the curves of the land. So you build this fancy thing called an A-frame level, like it's like this, with the level across there, and you use it to find like the level parts, and it ends up making kind of a curvy line as it follows the level curves of your land. Does that make some sense? And so mine is like maybe 25 feet long. Like it's really small. So I dug it by hand, and it's about a foot deep. And then on the downhill side, you put all your extra dirt from what you dig up, and that builds what's called the berm. And so when water fills the swale, it goes all the way across, and it's nice and level, and then it slows down the water from washing away. So formerly, because ours is connected to the downspout, it would just puddle in a big clump by our door. Now instead of that, it goes all the way across the length of our lot, and then infiltrates slowly in a downward fashion, so the water reaches, like our tree. We have a red oak in the center of the yard. So instead of just being all clumped together by the door where nothing grows because we have a pathway, it reaches all of our plants. And then in the berm, you can plant things. You can plant radishes. You can plant strawberries. I think, from what I understand, blackberries do really well in berms because it holds a lot of that moisture in. So it slows the escape of water from your property. And I think most typical homes are built with it graded, so they want the water to leave as fast as possible because you don't want flooding, which is a valid concern. So like when I built ours, I made sure it was 10 feet from our foundation, which is the minimum suggested in the book I was reading. And we finally have had some seriously heavy rains, and it filled up the swale. The swale never overflowed, and mine looks like a dry creek bed. So normally it's just rocks, but then it fills it up. And then when we had really heavy rains, it did puddle, but it puddled downhill from the swale. So it was puddling by like our oak tree, which is what needed to be puddled because it needs that extra water. And then it goes all the way down through our yard before it finally hits the street and runs off. So it's a really good way for like an erosion control, or if you have weird dry areas of your yard that are hard to water, you can build a swell and then flood it. And so it's just like, I don't know, it's really handy. I have a blog post I can send you about it with all the details, and I think I even have a video of it, like, full of water in the rain.
Sounds like a good idea. My property kind of slopes very gently the whole way, and I don't know if I would really benefit from a swale just because it's almost flat. So I
You
know,
would be
Matt. What's
surprised.
that?
You would be surprised how much, like if you went and tried to do it level, like even though it slopes really gently, you would be surprised how much variation there actually is once you start actually looking at it with a level. Because mine's not like steep by any means. It looks like a normal flat suburban yard, but then when you start pulling out the level and all, you realize it's really not flat. So you should look. You should pull it out and check.
Yeah, I'll take a look. There are some places that probably could work. I know Matt Powers we were unable to get him on our show a little bit ago because of a technical difficulty, but he's rescheduled for April 7th. So I know he's dug a lot of swales, and so we'll talk more about swales when we get him on again. So
he's super cool. I was kind of relieved that he canceled and rescheduled because I couldn't make it that night either, and I was like, oh man, I would kill myself if I couldn't meet Matt Powers.
I was somewhat traumatized, but we got over it.
All right, maybe not kill myself. I'm not like a teenage girl, but maybe a little bit. There is an upcoming homegrown food summit that's free on April 6th. It goes for 4 days. Paul Wheaton, who runs Permies.com, is speaking at it. Joel Salatan, Toby Hemingway, who wrote Gaia's Garden, which is another like home-scale permaculture book that was what started me on this obsession. They're all speaking at it, and it's super free, so I can post a link afterwards if anybody's interested, because it's going to be like a live seminar for 4 days. There's like, I want to say 15 speakers or 10 speakers, but really awesome gardening people that I do nothing but look up to.
Alexis, is that something, did you say that it's like online, that we could watch the seminars online? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds cool. I'll have to check that out. So, okay. Well, I see that, Sarah, you're back. We lost
I don't know
you
what
for a few minutes.
The internet decided maybe New Zealand's too far away.
Yeah, it's just too far away. Well, I'm glad you made it back. So I was wondering, well, Bren, did you have any questions or comments that you want to share? Uh-oh.
Oh no, is she frozen?
She's
I'm still here.
can't hear her. Bren, we can't hear you. Maybe she's muted. Okay, well, anyway, I was wondering, Sarah, like, what's your water source? You said you're in a drought, but do you have a fair amount of water?
We're very blessed. We have an artesian well, so there's a bore that we can just tap into. It's actually quite high in iron, and so we collect water off the rainwater off the roof as well. So we've got a 30,000 litre tank, but we normally use that to fill the swimming pool, because when you fill it with the water from the bore, it reacts with the chlorine and turns the pool orange.
And that's not ideal, so we use the rainwater.
No, we got good water, so we're very blessed. I don't think if I had to pay for the water, I'd be able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a big problem for a lot of people that, in a lot of areas that I have this combination of city water, and then I also have a neighbor's well that when we bought this property, it was on the well, and the neighbor is allowing me to continue to use some of the well water for irrigation, which is kind of a nice combination. So kind of have a double supply. 2 options. So let's see. I was just wondering. Well, let's see. So, Sarah, do you guys have any questions for each other, or anything else you wanted to bring up?
Has Bren dropped out, or is she still there?
Well, she's there, but I don't know if we can hear her. She can.
Because I was wanting to show her something that I grew. She asked a question on Facebook the other day about, and Twitter, about growing dahlias from seed. And these are some that I grew, they're about hot in here, but I grew them from seed, and they're absolutely beautiful. So, dahlias. It's the first time I've grown flowers from seed at all, so I'm normally a vegetable person.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, because usually those dahlias are started from tubers, right? So,
Yeah, so to have them from seed, and they're all very different and they're all very beautiful, although they're a little bit hot in here in the greenhouse. So yeah, beautiful flowers. But yeah. I found something else in the garden that I thought might be quite interesting as well. I found a strawberry. This is the last one of the season.
that looks like a beauty.
Yeah.
You're going to eat it right in front of us, aren't you?
Yeah.
Devious.
And it was very, very good. But yeah, I've had a fabulous harvest, and now I'm looking forward to watching everyone else harvest their things vicariously. So I like to share my summer so I can share yours.
It's so fun. I was about to point that out, that I love following people in the Southern Hemisphere because it's like summer never ends. Then when you're watching on Instagram and everything like that, yeah, it's really fun. I appreciate that you guys do that.
Yeah, it's like giving back. You just got to keep putting it out there.
I don't get to share snow pictures because it doesn't snow here. I just share brown grass, so don't follow me in the winter. But we're about to get going. I've got bluebonnets up in the front yard, so that's good. I've had bluebonnets since January.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Early. Yeah, we have had an early spring here, so we've had lots of daffodils, and my peach trees have already bloomed, and my plum tree, everything's blooming and going crazy. So just, it's a few weeks earlier than usual. Been fun.
Awesome.
Well,
we had a horrendous spring. It was just, the weather was awful. Wind, rain, freezing for a lot longer than it should have been. Our spring we were running 6 weeks behind, pretty much all early summer to catch up. So we're kind of hoping we get 6 weeks at the end. So I kind of hope that you guys don't have a bad spring because it was terrible.
But it sounds like it got better because you had a good growing season.
Yeah.
Good.
We had everything started blooming, and then we had like a really hard freeze right afterwards. So my yard was like a trash zone because I wrapped everything in like plastic bags and buckets and whatever I could find to try to protect the blooms. I just planted a peach tree this February. I was like, no, I'm not losing my peach flowers, and it's just like, yeah, my neighbors are like, oh my gosh, it's that crazy lady again. She's like, muddy yoga pants, putting like plastic bags on her trees, like,
covering them all up.
Yeah, and I haven't yet had quite enough to like share with anybody. I feel like once I have like fruit and vegetables and flowers, and I'm like, oh hey, here, have some extra. They'll be like, oh, okay, you're not totally crazy after all. But right now, I totally look nuts.
Oh, they'll figure that out.
One of the things I've been giving away a lot lately is spaghetti squash.
Holy smokes! That is huge.
I mean, that's probably enough to last us like a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
let alone, yeah, that's just the average size this year. We've had a really good squash harvest. It's been pretty good.
Do you guys have squash borer issues?
No, we don't. I've seen that on the internet, and we don't have that.
Moving to New Zealand because, oh my gosh. That's amazing.
And we don't have the tomato hornworm. We don't have snakes.
What?
We don't have scorpions. We don't have foxes and squirrels or raccoons or bears or anything like that that's going to come into my garden. I've got bare feet with no fear.
So you have amazing soil that acts like a sponge, and you have no pest whatsoever. You actually live in heaven.
We have aphids.
Are you Google Plusing or Google hanging out with us actually from heaven?
I think she might be. Well, she was swatting at some cabbage moths or butterflies. Cabbage moths.
It's not totally perfect.
There are pests, but not too many. We're really blessed.
That's amazing. That's really, we've got all the pests and rocks.
And rocks. I don't have the vine borers. I just have all the what are they? Squash bugs, beetles that get underneath the leaves and on the stems, and they're a real.
Oh, the sucking one.
Yeah,
We call them stink bugs because you're supposed to squash them, and then they emit a smell that tells all the rest of them that's not safe. So.
Well, it doesn't seem to scare them off enough. Yeah, squish them and they smell kind of like vinegar. They are interesting.
So do you just squish them? Do y'all just pull them off and squish them? You just like
Yep. Anymore, I just walk out in the garden and I'm just squishing them.
You can't afford to be squeamish.
Yeah, I was kind of squeamish at first. Now
it's just such a sensory issue for me just to touch them alone. But the idea of like squishing them, so I throw them over the fence onto the street, and I hope that like a grackle eats them. And the car hits the grackle.
Well,
it's all part of the ecosystem that I'm. But yeah, I need to get over my bug squishing phobia for sure.
Yeah, we feed out some bugs to the chickens. Sorry.
How many chickens do you have?
Sorry?
Yeah, how many chickens in your flock?
Yeah, we started with 4 chickens, but one of the chickens wasn't a chicken, it was a rooster. So we now have 13. And then we've got some goats as well. We had lambs, but they've been swapped for meat. Sorry.
No, that's how it works.
So
we actually
go ahead.
feel really lucky that we can get New Zealand lamb at our Costco, like our big box club store, because American lamb is not as good, and so we're like, ooh, we can get some New Zealand lamb, like. Fancy.
Well, that's the thing here. It's really expensive to buy meat, even though, I mean, in the field next door to us earlier today there was cows, so it's dairy country. But there's we export lamb and all that, but it's very expensive for us to buy, which is why we've taken care of our own supply. And the flavour is just incredible.
Yeah, no, it's way better. It's not. American lamb is really gamey and really has like a really metallic almost flavor to it, but. No. You guys have the good stuff. That's crazy, though, that it's so expensive for you. That's interesting.
So, everything's really expensive here. They say we're one of we're one of the highest cost of living countries.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why. I don't really know why, because
because it's amazing there. They don't want anyone else to come and ruin it.
It is pretty amazing there. I want to come back and visit sometime. I had a trip there about 20 years ago. I was wondering, Sarah, do you have a good way to store, or a good space to store all your squash or other, your kind of crops that you need to? Do you have a root cellar or anything like that, or how do you take care of it?
I've got a garden shed that I store all my bits and pieces in there. So there's a good place to keep things like my onions and my squash and things like that, my pumpkins. And then I've got access to 3 freezers, so I'm a bit greedy. And then just all the preserves and things in jars and things. It's just all over the house. But it's good because I don't buy vegetables, except maybe this year garlic, because my crop failed so miserably it just went straight on the compost heap. So. Yeah,
well, that's a fairly small item to supplement with, so that should be good. Yeah, that's one of my things. I really want a better space for storing, all my onions and potatoes and squash. I don't have a good. I feel like I don't want to grow more because I don't really have a good place to store them. So
I've seen a thing where people bury old chest freezers in the ground.
Oh, I've seen that too. Yeah.
For obviously it's not like a huge amount of storage, but for like a backyard farmer type person, it might be enough. But we don't have the ability to even dig down that low. But it might be something you look into, Adam, and you might be able to do it.
Yeah, I could dig down fairly deep. So yeah, I'm going to do something like that, or build some sort of kind of root cellar, not a full walk-in one probably, because I don't think I really have space for that, and that would be, a lot of work. But I have a kind of an idea of making kind of a little concrete with a lift-out thing and a little roof over it. So
that sounds exciting. You need to keep us all posted with how that goes.
Yeah. Well, it was so fun to meet you, Sarah, and talk to you again, Alexis. So
I know it's been a while. I wish I could work better in my schedule and could do it every week.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out.
All right.